You have questions and we've got some answers.
Welcome to Q&A with A&D.
Several of our students, several of our fellow colleagues deal with an issue of lack of inspiration or just lack of motivation or just hitting a plateau. What advice would you give to those that are struggling with that?
So dealing with a plateau is definitely a hardship that's very common. So if you're in one right now, don't feel like an anomaly because it does happen. And I think that there's several reasons why you might be hitting a plateau. Many times it's because we continue to do the same things over and over and over again. And so there is a point where you kind of don't progress as quickly or maybe as much because there is a need for you to change something up. This happens also for those who have been dealing with like a weight loss journey or a physical health journey where you're trying to maybe bulk up or maybe slim down. And so one of the things that I've learned over the years is you have to change something up. So it could be, for example, maybe it's the amount of classes that you're taking. Maybe you were able to get by just taking a class once a week. And now you're at the point where you need a little bit more. And so maybe increasing the amount of classes you're taking is one aspect. It could also be that you are taking a lot of classes, but not social dancing enough. And we always said this, the importance of social dancing and how that's a huge part of your training as well.
That's what the dance is.
That's what the dance is.
Yeah.
You're learning how to social dance. So if you're taking the classes and you're getting the material and cool, and you can, stand an hour and a half in the class, that's great. But being able to take those techniques, those principles, that material that you're learning and applying it when you're actually social dancing is a whole different ball game of, a different level of training. And also it challenges you, social dancing, to kind of be very in the spur of the moment. It's when we talk about social dance, it's not choreography. So you're making things up as you go along. You're improvising. And so that aspect of streaming pieces of moves together and doing it when it feels right, when the music is calling for it, when the connection between and the positioning of your frame, for example, with your partner, all of those things are another level of training.
In my experience, and I'm somebody who's constantly craving inspiration and looking for outside motivation, right? Or just a spark, something to get me through, because oftentimes we are running on empty a lot of times, especially if we're instructors or choreographers or artists, right? And so you could be like, oh, my improv is staying the same, my skills are staying the same. Maybe you need to just go take something entirely different. If you've been taking salsa, maybe go take a kizomba class. Maybe go take Latin hustle. Because there is a skill set overlap with a lot of these dances, right? Lead, follow. Learning new things will jumpstart a lot for you, definitely.
And maybe even switching up, you could stay within the same realm. Let's say, for example, you could still go to maybe a different bachata instructor that maybe has a different focus or a different delivery, because sometimes it's also the relationship you have with your instructor. If your instructor, for example, is very footwork heavy, but you really want to increase your partnering skill sets, then maybe you might want to take the class that they teach that focuses on partnering, or a completely different instructor that does more partnering classes so that you can sharpen those skill sets.
I would also say sometimes they talk about with creativity and creation, the more you do it, the more highs you'll have. But if you are doing it not so often, you're gonna have less highs. That's just what it is. Maybe it's something else that could come into your life that sparks new inspiration for you. Go check out a show, go check out a live music performance. Live music. The music that you listen to is also a huge source of inspiration. The music comes first for us as dancers. There's the music and then we dance to the music. So maybe that's even perhaps you learning musical instrument. I mean, there's all different types of ways for you to ignite a sense of inspiration again, and to really take your dance to the next level, because it might not be just one aspect. You might see growth in your understanding or your awareness, right? And sometimes we're so limited to like fixated on this one thing, but we're really growing and stretching in so many other aspects around dance that, you know, you might not just see that.
I would also say sometimes you could be doing everything right.
Yes.
In terms of like, you can be taking 3 or 4 classes a week. You can be social dancing 3 or 4 times a week. You can be listening to the music all day, all night. And sometimes it's a gray area, right? Because you can sometimes be doing too much in terms of like being too systematic with it, because you're taking your classes, you're reviewing the videos when you go home, you know, you're practicing the moves. But at times we need to dial back and scale back a little bit and disconnect so much from the mechanics of it all, right? The actual like studying of it, and really just embracing the journey. Part of growing as a dancer and an artist, or whatever aspect of your dance journey you're in, is also being present in the journey, being able to accept that there might be social dances that you have that don't feel perfect, or there might be classes where you are struggling, but that is part of the journey. And the great thing about what we do is that when you're learning and when you're practicing and when you're quote unquote failing, it's beautiful, and that's part of what it is. And I think that makes your success story even much more impressive, because at one point in your dance journey, whether you decide to become an instructor or an artist or choreographer or just a really badass social dancer, you will meet people who are facing those same challenges that you face, and that makes it that much rewarding when you're able to share that story and talk through how you dealt with it and how you overcame an obstacle or a plateau.
Yes, get through the other side, breakthrough.